Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo artisans. It is Nick, aka the Algo Cowboy. We're going to take a look today at Nasdaq, USD, JPY, BTC, USD, that's Bitcoin, EURUSD, AUDUSD, and gold. Get your free algo. The link is in the description, and I will also send you updates as to when my weekly updates are happening, and I will send you an invite to a workshop that I'm going to do this month in June. Still trying to determine the date, but I'm going to let you watch me trade for at least a couple of days. You see my thought process, how I do it, etc., etc. So go to the link in the description and get the free algo, and I'll send you all the other stuff too. Before we jump into the charts, let's go ahead and take a look at the economic news that's coming out this week right now. Okay, so Monday, right after the market open, you have Purchasing Managers Index, and then a few hours after that, you're going to see Jerome Powell speak at 1 p.m. So this could be a little bit of an unpredictable Monday. I might just be scalping and doing nothing else on Monday, which is typical for a Monday. Market opens on Monday tend to be volatile and less predictable. Tuesday, the Swiss are doing their CPI at 2:30 a.m. EST. What's going to be tricky about Tuesday is Governor Ueda, that's the Bank of Japan's Governor Ueda, is going to speak, and it's not really scheduled for a particular time. Depending on what he says, the entire market could go into a bit of a tizzy. The Japanese yen is a very important part of the global market, so I would be careful and protect my positions on Tuesday. Mind you, that's probably going to happen before the US Open or the earlier part of the day, just given that that's when Japan is awake. So once that's done, might be a little bit more predictable. 10 a.m. we have JOLTS job openings for the USD, so that can affect American markets. At 9:30 p.m. we have the Australians giving us their GDP, so that could affect the Australian Forex markets. Wednesday, 8:15 a.m. EST is the USD non-farm employment change, so that employment data can push prices around. It's pretty much all the markets that are trading against the dollar. That's at 8:15 a.m. EST. Next, you have the Bank of Canada rate statement and overnight rate. That's at 9:45 a.m. Going to play with those Canadian Forex markets. More data from the US and Canada coming out at 10 and 10:30 a.m. EST respectively. Thursday, 8:15 a.m. you're going to have the European monetary policy and main financing rate, so that's going to be big for the euro. And then at 8:30 a.m. EST, the US unemployment claims, which comes out every week. 8:45 a.m. EST, you have the ECB press conference, so I probably would not touch the euro until after 8:45 a.m. EST. On Friday at 8:30 a.m., a bunch of USD and Canada data coming out, and it should be a decent Friday for scalps as well. Let's jump into the charts, and we will start with the Nasdaq. I do expect the Nasdaq to be rather sideways, but some of the news coming out this week could give us some surprises. But if there are no surprises, I expect Nasdaq to trade sideways within a range. It can be surprisingly resilient. There is a bit of bearishness on the Nasdaq, but high time frame things do tend to look bullish. So I expect sideways action, could break up or down depending on news. So not a big prediction right there. Probably a decent week for people scalping within a range. There, as a matter of fact, is a bit of a range here developing between 21,410 and about 21,200 or so. So it might be worth trading the chop in that if you are a range trader. Let's take a look at USDJPY. Now this is the wild card because Governor Ueda is going to speak. If whatever Governor Ueda says is not a surprise, I expect the USDJPY to continue to want to move down. It might have a bounce around this 143 area because that is a prior demand zone. So prices come down to that area between 142.23 and about 143.05 and bounced back up. But if the Japanese yen continues to get stronger, it could push down below that 142, which is, as you can see, a pretty key level. Price bounced there back in April, again early May, and then late May. So we could see that again. It just remains to be seen. And again, whatever Governor Ueda says might make a difference. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got some bulls that are pushing it up, and there's a lot of liquidity in this yellow box between 107,800-ish all the way up to 108,800-ish. So price is going to want to go there as long as that liquidity is still there. The reason that liquidity is there because people have gone short, so that could also disappear as price heads up and profit is taken, which would also push price up by the very function of the way the futures market works. But as long as that stays there, and it seems to be stubbornly doing so, price probably will want to pop up and grab 108 that area, maybe even all the way up to 109 or so. Going to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, I do expect Bitcoin to come back down. If it doesn't even go up there, it will probably head back down to the low 100s. It's just a question of will it happen this week or will it happen next week. I don't expect Bitcoin to chase that all-time high this week or next week or anytime terribly soon, but I could be wrong and the charts will tell us what's going to happen. For now, the charts are saying what you see on the screen. Let's move over to EURUSD. The dollar still has a bit of weakness and the euro still has a bit of strength. So I do expect this to grind up. There is a bit of resistance very clearly here at 114. That's $1.14.15 or so. Price could grind up there, might reject at that level, but it could also break out. It's going to depend on what happens. And of course, we have on Thursday, the ECB is coming out with their announcement. So that really could change this chart pretty drastically as of Thursday or so. So I'd be real careful. Up until Thursday, it's going to be relatively predictable, but Thursday itself might be tricky. And that's Thursday morning, so it might be some pretty good trading on Thursday and Friday for the euro. Let's take a look at AUDUSD. Now, AUDUSD was really bullish for a while, and it's still high time frame bullish, but of course, there are corrections. There's a fair amount of volatility with this. Might be a really good pair to pay attention to and trade. Right now, it seems like it wants to go in a range between 64 cents and 64.5 or 64.6 cents. We're going to see how that goes. And again, the Australian GDP is going to come out, so that might mess with the chart a little bit, but I don't think so. I think we're going to get more or less of a steady move sideways, maybe a pop up or down, but not a lot of excitement. Probably some good trading. Let's take a look at gold. Now, gold's been pretty resilient. I expected it to fall a little bit faster than it has, but it has steadily been falling in a bit of a channel, if you will. I'm not really big on trading channels, but in this particular case, it does seem to be holding, and I have had success in channel trading before. So we might see gold kind of edge its way down, but it does continue to want to pop up. It's just that the bears keep selling sooner and sooner and sooner, and I do expect gold to head down and at least test 3,000 before it is done moving down for the year. High time frame, I don't know that it's ready to go chase those all-time highs, a lot like Bitcoin, but you know what? With everything happening in Russia, Ukraine, a lot of escalation there, gold could skyrocket, and you really just can't predict that. We had that big move where the Ukrainians bombed a bunch of Russian jets, kind of their Pearl Harbor, if you will, over the weekend. Man, that could send gold skyrocketing if there's all-out war. So, a little unpredictable on gold. We'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, everybody. Over at Algo Factory, what we do is we teach people how to build their own trading plan. Now, a lot of people who watch this are historically in cryptocurrency. We are definitely interested at Algo Factory in long-term cryptocurrency trends, but cryptocurrency is a little bit tough to trade on the short term. However, Forex, on the other hand, is relatively predictable, so what I like to do is trade Forex, take those wins, and buy things like gold, crypto, and maybe some real estate with those wins. I think it's a really good formula. We can also teach you how to build algos that trade crypto. The methodology is all the same. The exact same thing if you're trading the Nasdaq or anything else. The whole process is all the same. Come on over to algofactory.tech. We will teach you how to trade like a hedge fund pro. Don't forget, you can get a free algo right there. Links in the description, and we will also send you updates as far as this weekly update. You'll get an email when that's out, and we will invite you over to our workshop where you will watch me trade for at least a couple of days in a row. That's going to happen later this month. Thanks for watching. AlgoFactory.tech. We will see you bright and early on Tuesday.